All right, so this is called Why You Wish You Could Sleep Like a Platypus and Not Like an Elephant. It's very important stuff, guys. It's very important. Look at him. Oh my god, I've never actually seen a walrus asleep. What the heck? He's just sleeping on the little ice floating.
All hands hoist the color.
What the heck? This is like the version of T-posing in the ocean. Why?
So I was thinking about it, right? And if you live in the United States, you have an estimated 77.3 years before you're expected to lease a casket, and we spend a third of that sleeping. Or at least we're supposed to. Saying we're supposed to get
is good, okay? We advocate for good sleeps.
8 hours of sleep a day is like telling New Jersey drivers there's a speed limit. Or telling people that the serving size for Chips Ahoy is 2 cookies. It's more of a suggestion, and no one in their right mind looks at this and stops themselves at 2. But that's still...
Oh man, I have insomnia. I've been trying to like fix my sleep. How many hours of sleep do you guys get a night? I got like 7 or 7.5-ish. I woke up in between, that's why. I got like a C, like a passing grade on good sleep.
Still adds up to well over 20 years that we spend lying in a dress rehearsal for death. It's to the point where you gotta wonder just how much we would get done if we evolved past the need for sleep. I mean, just look at dolphins. They didn't have a choice. Because unlike us, dolphins don't breathe involuntarily. Every breath
Wait, so dolphins don't sleep? How does their body like repair itself? Aren't we supposed to sleep like to rest our brains and like rebuild tissues and stuff?
Take is a choice, which is good because when your home addresses the ocean yet you breathe air for a living, having that reflex at the wrong time is a fast track to getting flatlined. Alternatively, the problem with having to consciously choose to breathe is going unconscious once means going unconscious full time. But the trick that dolphins and, well, cetaceans in general use is that they only rest one half of their brain at a time.
What the actual heck? And then they just T-pose? They T-pose while half their brain's off? Doesn't that mean they'd have to sleep like twice as long? When does the other half rest? That sounds awful.
Switch off between the two. And with the right half of the brain being responsible for the left side of the body and vice versa, dolphins literally sleep with one eye open, with that eye being on the same side as the half of the brain being rested. And it's funny, because dolphins evolved from a land animal.
What the actual hell is this Why is his head so long? So you're trying to tell me that dolphins evolved from, like, this rat dog?
Meaning they must have seen something so crucial on land that they spent the rest of their...
What is that? What is that? I'm so glad. You know, everybody's like, oh, I wish it was like the old days. All right, I'm glad we don't live with this guy. Oh, if I saw him.
Existence evolving to never go back. That's not the only sleep superpower cetaceans have that we don't. Dolphins and humans are actually a lot alike, and one of the child-friendly, safer guidelines ways is that when a dolphin decides to have a baby, it basically sacrifices any sleep for the near future. And that's—
oh man, isn't that like, I don't know, people?
Because baby dolphins don't sleep for the entire first month of their lives, which means, by extension, neither do their mothers. And it's not like they can just use an iPad to negotiate a commercial break's worth of sleep. Now, 24 hours of non-stop movement in an ocean where leaving your child unsupervised for even a second can turn you from mother to morning real quick.
Yeah, and it's already bad because you never fully fall asleep, so half your brain is conscious of your child being a menace.
It's not for no reason. Constantly being on the move lowers the baby's chance of getting perma-slept by predators. And in the cold, uncaring void of the ocean, perpetual motion helps keep them warm just long enough for their blubber to come in. It's great for the dolphin calves, but it means their mothers can go an entire calendar month without a wink of sleep. It's crazy because for us, driving while being awake for 24 hours straight is like driving boozed up under the influence. After 2 days, your immune system gets nerfed, so does your reaction time and even your decision making. And
yeah, this is why I don't understand how their bodies are like, yeah, we just don't need it.
After 3 days, you'd be chilling with your paralysis demon, since that's when you can expect to start having hallucinations. The longest a person ever stayed awake that we know of was in an experiment for 264 hours and some change.
Holy crap, that is just horrible.
Just over 11 days. You'll probably never see that record get broken since it would likely cost many lives in the process, especially since at some point you'd go into micro sleep, where your body pretty much just forces your brain to go offline for up to 30 seconds at a time.
I was gonna say, what do they do? Like zap him every time he had a micro sleep? Because I would think your brain would just force you to sleep.
Time. It sounds like no big deal during class or at work, but get hit with microsleep while driving, swimming, or flying a plane, and you'll see firsthand just how broken real-life RNG can be. So yeah, go on a bender with a dolphin and you'll tap out long before he does. Ironically, dolphins normally sleep just as much as humans do.
Why do they sleep vertically, you know? But why did he sleep vertically? Why does he T-pose like that? Floating up. He's like standing up.
Technically. On average, dolphins get the same 8 hours of sleep we do, except when they do it, it's when the two halves of their brain rest in shifts that add up to 4 hours each. And honestly, I just feel like we could get a whole lot more done if we rested only half of our brain at a time. Or all that extra time means we just speedrun the destruction of humanity, but one way or another, we'd be more productive.
Well, okay. When they sleep, they can't really do anything, right? Because even though they're sleeping with half their brain, it looks like they just T-pose, so they're not like moving or doing anything, are they?
Productive is a word koalas never use, mostly because koalas can't speak English.
Oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen a koala rained on. He looks so sad! Dry him off!
But also because the plush bear of the outback catches more winks than any other mammal. If you ever spend a day in a life with a koala, 18 to 20 of those hours would be spent waiting
Oh my god, look at him. He's such a menace, but he looks so soft.
for it to reboot back up again. And the reason is because the koala's defining personality trait is eating a plant that has made it abundantly clear it's not meant to be eaten. Not only is eucalyptus toxic, it's so nutrient deficient that koalas might honestly be better off eating dirt. Koalas eat dirt. That's
Oh, I was about to say, why don't they eat dirt? But never mind.
choice in diet is why koalas often cosplay as a corpse for over 3/4 of its life. The eucalyptus leaves offer so little and take so much energy to digest that most of a koala's life happens when it's not even conscious for it. And
So, like, why do they eat this then? Why don't they literally eat anything else?
the time they don't spend in a food coma is spent eating, screaming, and spreading chlamydia. Or eating their mother's green fecal pap paste, so they can get the bacteria needed to digest eucalyptus in the first place. Because if there isn't a hell, there's definitely koala reincarnation. It's pretty much the same situation with sloths, eating nothing but leaves and getting almost the same nothing back. Which is why the sloth can knock out for a healthy 16 hours a day. Or at least that's what we thought.
Having no competition for your food is nice. Oh my.
You see, the thing is, most of what we thought we knew about sloths came from the ones in captivity, as in the ones who live life on recruit difficulty and can afford to sleep like it. Sloths in the wild, though, they get about a good 8 to 9 hours of shut-eye max. Because in the wild, you have to get your own food while also avoiding becoming food. The reason we thought that
I didn't realize that. I knew sloths were kind of gross, all right? Like, I knew because they have, like, the slow metabolism and they go down, like, once a week or something to go to the bathroom. I didn't realize koalas were in the same stink,
they were lazier than they actually
the same stink meta as sloths.
are is because even when they're awake, they actively try to move as little as possible. Because sloths have the slowest metabolism of any mammal while also only eating lettuce for a living, they're really stingy on what they choose to waste calories on. How stingy, you ask? If a baby sloth loses his grip and falls to the forest floor, you can pretty much flip a coin on whether the mother spends the energy getting her only child back or just decides she'd rather start over. But
Oh
yeah,
my-
despite its name, sloths don't sleep nearly as much as we thought. In fact, you might not even know, but their cousins sleep almost twice as much as they do. The sloth's close relative, the armadillo, can doze off for an average of 16 hours a day. How sloths
I didn't realize armadillos slept that long.
ended up being the ones that got named after a whole sin is because when armadillos go to sleep, it's usually underground where we can't see them. It's also because most dillos are crepuscular, meaning they only come out early
Oh yeah, crepuscular means dawn and dusk is when they wake up.
in the morning or right at dusk. And you know what? They're not the only members of the family that can outsloth a sloth. Giant anteaters are also close cousins of armadillos and sloths, and they can turn in for a good 15 to 16 hours a day. And just like the sloth, giant anteaters also have molasses for metabolism.
Really? What the heck? I didn't realize so many of these animals have like the slower metabolism. Oh man, I like armadillos and anteaters. They're cute.
And they go into pretty much the animal version of power save mode called torpor. Don't worry, we're gonna come back to them.
Yeah, I didn't realize armadillos were cousins or like related to sloths either. I didn't realize that.
But you peep how the sloth's name got it beef with the Bible when two of its cousins are literally more of a sloth than it is. So we talked about some of the animals that sleep the longest, but what about the one that sleeps
Look at that anteater just rolling around. What's interesting though is they move around normally during the day.
the deepest? You've probably been taught that the deepest stage of sleep is REM sleep, short for rapid eye movement, named after the fact that along with muscle twitching and irregular brain activity, the hallmark of REM sleep is the fluttering of the eyes with the eyelids still closed. Pretty much every land animal gets hit with the REM at some point, but there's one mammal that spends more time in this stage than any other animal, and I'm willing to bet nobody watching this will guess what it is. Seriously, I'll put money on it. Or maybe you will if you watch this show. Because when the talking Dorito says, he's a platypus, they don't do much. He wasn't that far off base. The duckbill flex of nature goes
Man, Platypus always have like the weirdest facts about them. They never get less strange.
Was out like a light for an estimated 14 hours a day, which makes it just another.
If you were to like make a conspiracy theory about an animal that was secretly an alien, it would have to be the platypus.
Animal that's closer to being a sin than the animal that actually got verbally tattooed as one. Honestly, the deeper I go into this, the more I'm realizing we owe Sloss an apology. And a name change. But not only do platypus spend more time offline than on, in experiments, the REM stage of sleep for them lasted anywhere from 5.5 to 8 hours.
Holy crap, that's a really good, like, man, he must feel great.
More than we've seen in any animal. Just for your reference, if you slept 8 hours last night, probably about 90 minutes of that was REM, maybe 2 hours if you were overachieving. And platypus and REM have the same symptoms we do, the random twitching, the brain activity despite their body pretty much having a parking brake on it, and of course, the eyes moving. The only difference is, for us, not all, but most dreams happen during the REM stage. But since studies show that platypus don't get the same activity in the forebrain while sleeping that we do, it's likely that this goose rabbit didn't evolve enough to have dreams. But
Really? Okay, yeah, I was wondering if he had a lot of dreams then. I was gonna say he would have more dreams than anyone if he worked the same, but I guess he doesn't get any.
do you want to know who did? Well, you
No
remember how I
dreams.
said virtually every land animal eventually falls into REM? There's a reason I didn't say only land. Not only does the octopus enter deep sleep, but we've seen them change color and skin texture almost as if they're
Oh, what the heck? Look, it looks like he's dreaming.
trying to match the environment of whatever world they created in their head. So
That's cool.
yeah, there's a good amount of evidence, mind you, scientific peer-reviewed evidence that octopi can dream. Or at least they try
That's
to. But they're
crazy.
also the polar opposite of the platypus. Because where God's Science Fair project can REM for an entire work shift, the 8 foots of the ocean spend less than a minute in that stage. Out of the 2 hours total an octopus might go AFK for in a day, less than 1% of that is in the REM stage they go viral for.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I've never seen an octopus sleep, but yeah, he does look like he's dreaming.
Which actually makes a lot of sense since a sleeping color switching octopus might be fun for us, but in an ocean where everyone's looking for a calorie come up flat.
Oh yeah, that would suck. Like, this looks neat to us, but if he's actually in the ocean, like, he's probably risking his life changing colors like that.
Flashing your neighbors in your sleep is a good way to ensure you never wake up. You never know when a shark might pull up and promote you to a full-time napper. That logic is why you'll often see prey animals sleep less than the ones that murk them for a living. That and the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that
so they gotta have less REM sleep so that there's less of a chance they get hurt while they're doing a big old nappy.
if you're something like a zebra, you often don't have to go very far for food. Now compare that to a lion who can often go days and sometimes even a week without groceries, which is why you'll see a top predator like a lion call it in for 20 out of the 24 hours in a day. There's that, and sleeping during the hottest parts of the day and going food shopping when it's cooler and darker just makes more sense energy-wise. So
True.
pro tip, if you go to the zoo, make sure you go as soon as they open or as late as they'll let you, since that's when
So
star attractions
cute.
like lions are most active. Same with tigers, who are usually closed for business for the roughly same 18 to 20 hours as lions. And the animals that have to worry about getting packed up by predators like that are on the opposite end of the sleep spectrum. Like wild giraffes will sometimes run on only 30 minutes of sleep, and like every other wild animal here, that's not
Only sometimes. Usually it's 3 to 4 hours for giraffes in the wild. That's still a really short amount of time.
all at once. They sleep for about 5 minutes at a time throughout the day, and all that still
Oh, look at the little baby!
doesn't add up to a power nap for a person.
He's
An
so
animal like a
small.
wild horse will take these little sleep breaks that add up to 3 hours in a day, and most of that's while standing. They only lay down for the REM. And since a horse laying down is a horse at its most vulnerable, many herds will develop their version of a neighborhood watch group, where one horse stands
Aw,
guard
that's
while the rest
cute.
get theirs. The horses take turns keeping watch until everyone in the herd's gotten a chance to doze off, and
Oh, look at them. He's the watcher of naps. He'll take watch.
I think that's pretty cool. Elephants
that's-
earn the
that's
gold medal
cool.
of
It's
sleep
cute.
deprivation, since those in the wild are often able to function off only an average of 2 hours of sleep a night. The rest of their
That's
time is spent
crazy.
either eating or looking for something to eat. Now, if you were paying attention, you might have noticed something. That the bigger animals like elephants and giraffes sleep way less than the smaller animals we already talked about.
Yep.
And one reason might simply just be because plus-size animals just need to be awake long enough to eat more. Like elephants can put away 400 pounds of food
Oh yeah, maybe they can literally just, they have more options for food.
a day. They're not doing that on koala timing. But that's not too hard when you're the world's heaviest vegan. But when you're a bear with an empty pantry, it's a lot different. And when there's less food around, some animals will make like a struggling college student and just have sleep for dinner. That's
Do you think that maybe it's because they're omnivores? Like they have, their food's easier to get because they can eat leaves and stuff?
sleep being hibernation. Except hibernation isn't like how I was taught in grade school. Like bears don't just peace out for the entire winter and just rise like the Undertaker come spring. Hibernation isn't sleep. It's torpor that lasts weeks, sometimes months. See,
Oof.
I told you we'd come back to that. And I wasn't kidding. It's
I
like
thought
their
hibernation was more OP than that.
version of a power save mode when the struggle gets too real outside. Their metabolism, heart rate, and even breathing all slow down as they live off whatever energy they were able to store up. And when I say they go on cruise control, I mean some bears can slow their heart rate down to less than 10 beats per minute.
That's
But once
crazy.
again, it's not sleep. A hibernating bear is still very much awake. Matter of fact, here's a plot twist. Bears aren't even true hibernators. Because the legit
What?
hibernators, you know, the woodchucks, the bats, the squirrels, they pretty much just go a step above death, and coming out of that takes a lot of energy and effort. Bears,
So
on
isn't it like they're in a coma almost?
the other hand, they might as well just be the insomniacs of hibernators. What that means is if you mess around and manage to find a bear in its version of power save mode, it can still react fast enough to make sure you don't live long enough to find out twice.
Oh,
As you can
man.
see here, this man crossed the border of
What a
F around and
boring
now finds himself
existence.
smack in the middle of Find Out City. So
That would be terrifying. Like, also, they're just laying there for months then.
even though this built-in low battery
You think
mode
it gets
technically
bored?
isn't sleep, one animal managed to buff this to the point where they can sleep for years. And it's a very different type of bear. The tardigrade, or as streets know it, the water bear. You probably already heard how weirdly stacked nature made them. Their personality trait is being able to survive anything except the things in life that actively try to kill them. And
I don't understand what water bears are. Is this just like a germ under a microscope that people are more endeared to than the other ones?
you know, now that we're talking about it, that's actually always been my gripe with them. I'm supposed to just accept the fact that there's a mosspaid that can survive frigid cold, boiling pools, enough radiation to retire Superman's family jewels, and the literal vacuum of space.
Oh, is it technically an animal? It's a microorganism? Why do we like this one over the other ones? Is it because they can live through so much?
Yet the same nematodes that nearly put SpongeBob in a shelter can pack them up like a blunt. But water bears do have one superpower. When life starts lifing a little too hard, water bears just slip into suspended animation. Basically, it's power save mode on steroids, and they can tank whatever the world throws at them without food or water for not years, but decades.
What the
They
heck?
pretty much just shut down everything about them and just stay that way indefinitely. There was actually a time where a scientist found a water bear that got trapped in a sample of dried moss in a museum. All it took was a little water, and the swamp hog came back to life after being stuck there for 120 years.
That's
so yeah, technically it's
crazy.
not sleep, and I am kind of cheating here, but when you can force quit out of life and not even die, you deserve to at least get mentioned.
Yeah,
even if the
bro
word
was
swamp
just
hog
like
sounds like one of
in
those
the
things you
off
should
position
never
and
do.
needed a little bit of water to resuscitate. That's crazy.
But that's gonna do it for this video. For more consistent content, be sure to check out my TikTok and Instagram as you wait for the next video.
Yeah, I didn't
if you'd like to
realize they
support
were
my channel
basically
beyond just
immortal.
subbing, my
That's
Patreon's also
crazy.
gonna be in the description. Also, a friendly reminder that I do have a book out, and that's also gonna be down there. But other than that, drink water, hug your mother, make
Yeah,
sure you
I
get
was
some sleep.
wondering
You kinda
why,
need that
like,
stuff, and you
water
definitely
bears
earned
were
it.
talked
And I'ma
about a
see
lot.
y'all in the next one.
That was cool. Aw, look at the little pupper. They're sweeping, they're dreaming. So cute, so cute. Yeah, I love Casual Geographics videos. They're always good. They're snuggling, they're cuddling. At least now I know why people like water bears so much, or why like I hear a lot more about them than other whatever. Not that I'm like looking around to like know more about microorganisms, but that's like the only one I hear about all the time. Whenever I just hear about regular animal stuff, they sometimes come up and I'm like, why is it this one? Is it because it like people think it's cute or what? So